And we are back. Um, Exciting times. Uh, I'm I'm excited because of what has transpired this week. It was a huge step forward in a lot of the things that I've been working on for the past few months. So to finally get to a point where there's a milestone that we can acknowledge, it is beautiful to be here. But there's so much I want to talk about. I think it's been a week or so, a little over a week since we last created space for each other. I'm always grateful that we find the time and the opportunity to come together and just, again, create space for creativity. I remember when I originally set out with what this was going to be, I felt like if it is true that we are all creative and creativity is innate to us, then how is it that there isn't a lot of vehicles or channels that we can go to when we need a connection to our creativity or an outlet for creativity? So here we are. This is episode 53. If you're new here, welcome. If not, we're going to do what we always do. And we always start off with an exercise in mindfulness. And how we do that is focusing on our breath, 10 breaths, eyes closed. I prefer your eyes closed, but here we go. And now that we're here, just something to get your mind going since we've centered. I have a puzzle for you. I don't know if I've given you this one before, but if I have or if I haven't, here we go. It is I have keys but open no locks. I have space but no room, and you can enter but not go in. What am I? Uh, Yesterday was interesting. It's been a while since I've been meaning to get up with a really good friend of mine, a brother to me, for some time. Just scheduling was just off, and with traveling and just life in general and everything that's happening. If I'm honest, I don't get to hang out with him as often as I would like, but it's always a good time. And yesterday was no different. And while we were hanging out, I think one of the things, especially between us, him more than me, like sparking up conversation is never difficult in the spaces we occupy. And that happened last night. And as it always happens, the conversation always leads to something related to creativity. I actually enjoy having conversations with people who are actively in pursuit of their creativity in whatever capacity. We talked on here that creativity shows up in multiple different ways, and it doesn't have to be traditional, especially in the form of the arts that we might easily recognize it in. But yeah, so I had conversation, and one thing led to another, and I got asked a question. This lady I was talking to, she had asked me. She's having difficulties with like communicating the idea of creativity and to a friend of hers who is like extremely religious, and doesn't have any real connection to spirituality in any capacity. And I want to say that religion and religion and spirituality, even though they overlap, they're not necessarily the same thing. I think some spirituality takes shape in the form of religion, but that doesn't mean that religion and spirituality are one and the same. This is not a conversation about the difference between the two. It's just I wanted to highlight that. And I've always been conscious of what spirituality, the influence spirituality, my spirituality, and spirituality in general has on creativity. I think one thing I've learned about creativity is that, or about spirituality, is that it allows me to embrace or acknowledge the idea that there's a higher power. However that entity forms, from your perspective, it's that's you can decide that, and you are of sound and free mind that you can frame that however you want to frame that for your own personal beliefs. But there is a connection to a higher power, and one of the reasons why I start off these conversations with breath work and mindfulness, because I understand that there's a lot happening in this world, and sometimes we need to center ourselves. And I think our breath serves as a tool for us to connect back to our own selves and get us grounded. But not only that, if you've known me long enough, and like on a personal level, and we've talked, I've always believed that I'm merely here as a vessel, and through me, I'm able to help anybody that I cross paths with, as long as they're on they're in pursuit of their own purpose. I feel like I've been used to help people achieve whatever it is they believe they were sent here for, whether they believe it or not. And it has happened enough in my life that I realize that, yes, I am a conduit, I am a vessel. So I'm always conscious of this idea of like being grounded and connecting to self. And I want to say I'm self-aware. We've said this on multiple times in conversations on this particular platform, that the more self-aware you are, the more socially aware you become. And empathy is a huge part of the creative process in design and innovation. But as I was talking to her, one of the things I said is, one thing about spirituality allows me to acknowledge the things that I just said, that there is in fact a higher power, a greater power, greater than myself, greater than you. And because of that, it allows me to also acknowledge that everything isn't as it appears to be. There's more to it. And that is how, that is the same mindset I have when I'm performing creative acts, or I'm in the process of exploring my creativity. I think life itself can be finite, and ideas can sometimes feel that way. But in the understanding of spirituality and the understanding that the vastness of life beyond us, and the existence of something greater than us, we can also acknowledge that there's opportunities greater than us, that there are expectations greater than us, that there are circumstances that are also greater than us. And for that greater than us acknowledgement, that also means that our creativity can in fact be greater than us, and encompass those particular areas that we can't even account for. I think that is something that we all have to be conscious of, even if we are not truly conscious of what realm or what space exists beyond our being. One of the sayings that I've heard and I believe is that we honestly don't know what we don't know. And I think even when we can't imagine or fathom the unknown, our creativity is a vehicle to get us there. It is our connection to that space, the unknown space that we know is there, but the content or the capacity of it, even when we cannot frame our mind around it. And I think that in itself is what drives my creativity a lot. When I say that I'm conscious that there is a higher being, and it is me almost taking, I don't want to use the word backseat, but like taking a secondary, acknowledging this idea that I fall second to whatever that thing is. And I think that is important for all of us to recognize. And as I'm thinking through this, one of the things that I did in maybe the first episode, I talked about the creative process, and it's like this 3-step process. And process one is, or step one is using your intuition to establish a first impression. Your awareness to step two is your awareness to make a connection, and then step three is the idea of using your imagination to expand upon the possibilities. But focusing specifically on step one, this idea of using your intuition to establish the first impression, I think intuition is how whatever that higher power is speaks to us, and it is our direct communication to that power, or that entity, or whatever it is that you choose to want to frame it as. But intuition is how the communication happens. It is that feeling. It feels instinctual. It is a language. It is spirit. It is a energy. It is whatever channel or medium that allows for communication, unconscious communication between you and the higher power that you recognize or acknowledge is there, and through your spiritual journey. And I don't take intuition for granted in any capacity, especially when it comes to my creativity. I don't question why I'm tempted to create in the way that I create. I don't question why I challenge myself the way I challenge myself in particular moments. I don't question why the outcomes from my creative acts end up the way they do. I think all that is spiritual, and it is that connection to whatever that source is that ultimately dictates or drives this. And as much as it feels like something that is generated from within my being, I can acknowledge that I'm purely just a vessel, to the point that I said earlier. And I think it is important to recognize that. And if I'm honest, a lot of those intuitive communication to the source, it is what helps me understand and at least frame what I believe my purpose is. It gives me the inspiration and the motivation I need to remain on path. And it is that purpose that makes my creativity purposeful. I'm intentional about why I'm here, and why I continue to do the things that I do, because I know that I'm here for a reason. And the fact that I've been given this gift to create, I should in fact use it to help in pursuit, and to help accomplish the thing that not only did I set out to accomplish, but the thing that I was sent here to accomplish. And that's another thing that spirituality does. It helps you align your creativity to your purpose. And when you realize whatever that is, I think it is a conscious effort to use the tools that you've been given and the gifts that you've been given wisely and for good. And good is a relative term. It can mean uh, something else to someone else. But in however you interpret that word or whatever that means to you, I think that is the way in which that you should use it. And how you um, how you connect to your spirituality, um, the ceremony, the practice that when you are being intentional about communicating or just kind of creating space for that is on you. And I know you've seen me do it a lot here, and I do it in any capacity where I'm expected to lead or guide, and I'm in control of the space. I always lead off with mindfulness and the breath work. I think one of the things I always say, it helps to ground you, and it brings about a level of calm and steadiness, which I think in any situation is important. I think we make sound decisions. Our creativity is its most purest. I don't know. It is most pure on a steady mind. And I believe that it's the same breath work I use in situations where I'm uncomfortable. There's some unsteadiness, anxiety, and when I'm grounded, there's less fear. There's less anxiety, and those are the spaces that I'm able to create. I'm able to be a creative, and I'm able to continue to move a step forward constantly and consistently in order to accomplish the thing that I set out to accomplish. A huge part of like spirituality and this connection to a higher power is just this belief in faith. I think we all acknowledge that the fact that a lot of the times in the creative process, we don't know what the outcome is going to be. We don't know that this is ultimately going to be impactful. We don't know that there's going to be any influence associated with it. We don't know that it's going to reach who we intend for it to reach, and we have no control if it reaches anyone else. And there's a level of faith in the creative process that we employ and we utilize to allow us to keep building upon the idea, to keep creating and keep pushing forward that spirituality allows us. And that's a huge part of the creative process. I think there's so much that happens in the creative process that it can be depleting. It can feel draining. There's words of like burnout and just being tired from the process itself and having to have to do it. And I think spirituality serves as a reset button, because there's this calm associated with it. There's this tranquility and peace of mind, and sometimes we need a moment of rest and clarity in design, in creativity, in the process itself, that spirituality lends that to us. I feel like sometimes when we are not connected spiritually to our creative work, it almost feels like creativity is being dragged out of us, when in reality, when truly connected to our spirituality, it almost feels like creativity flows through us. And I think that is important to experience, to acknowledge, um, as a conscious thought, and to be able to post, to see the clarity, or see it clear enough to be able to recognize that what has happened, and the impact of it happening on you, on your physiology, in all aspects of it. I Last night's conversation was definitely refreshing. It was different. It was creativity. It was all the things, and I think it's important for us all to find ways to build spiritual relationships, get closer to our spirituality, and allow it to power our creative selves. The benefits of being spiritual, especially during the creative process or while being creative is immense. It broadens your ability to imagine. It eliminates creative obstacles. It gives you reason. It gives you purpose. You're more intentional. It feels like a spiritual relationship to creativity feels like one that is all encompassing. It deepens your connection to your creativity, and it is acknowledged both physically, emotionally, and spiritually. We talked about just being in a flow state, and that flow state happens when there is a deep recognition of spirituality and a spiritual element that is important to the creative process. I don't want to extend this more than it needs to be. I'm happy I found spirituality the way I found it. I'm happy I've allowed it to be all encompassing and all consuming, and it takes, and I could see it, how it impacts my creativity, and I can only hope that you've made that connection and it has impacted yours just as much. I'll end this how we started, with the brain teaser that said, I have keys but open no locks. I have space but no room. You can enter but not go in. Who am I? I am a keyboard. As always, it is a pleasure. Thank you for your ear. Thank you for your eyes. Thank you for your attention, and thank you for your spirituality. Continue to be creative and go be great.